She stood on top of a table at our engagement party, clinking her wine glass like a maniac, and shouted, "This wedding is off! I'm not marrying a selfish, spineless little accountant." The music stopped. My mother dropped her wine. Her father turned purple. And me? I walked outside, called my lawyer, and said, "Freeze everything. She just did me the biggest favor of my life." I used to think being calm under pressure was my superpower. I'm 36. I manage risk for a living, literally. I'm a forensic accountant, which means I sniff out financial fraud and stay 5 steps ahead of disasters. But the disaster I didn't see coming wore red lipstick, had a megawatt smile, and answered to the name Vanessa. We met at a charity gala in Houston. She was magnetic, laughing, vibrant, the center of every circle she entered. I was the quiet guy nursing an overpriced bourbon in the corner. She pulled me in like gravity. Within 6 months, we moved in together. By 9 months, we were engaged. And by month 10, I was Googling how to survive a relationship with a narcissist. The truth? She was intoxicating and exhausting. 1 minute, she'd cling to my arm, whispering how lucky she was to have me. The next, she'd explode over the wrong sushi order or a text I didn't reply to fast enough. I told myself, she's just passionate. But passion shouldn't feel like walking on broken glass. Wedding planning? It was a battlefield. Every detail turned into a war. Guest lists, flower colors, even the font on the invitations. Vanessa wanted control over it all, and if I didn't nod like a trained puppy, she'd cry or scream or threaten to cancel the entire thing. And each time she did, I'd beg her not to. I'd fix it. I'd smooth it over. Until one day I didn't. It happened 2 months before the wedding. I came home from a long day tracking down a 6-figure embezzlement scheme. I was fried. Vanessa greeted me with a glass of wine, a kiss, and a ticking time bomb. "So," she said casually, "Zach needs help with a business loan." Her younger brother, Zach, was the human embodiment of a red flag. Bankrupt at 25. 3 failed ventures, a DUI, and a sudden ambition to launch a luxury dog spa. "He just needs a cosigner," she said sweetly. "It'll boost his chances." My stomach did that thing it does when I know I'm about to ruin a peaceful evening. "Vanessa? I really don't think that's a good idea." Her smile vanished like a switch flipped. "Are you serious?" I tried staying calm. "Zach's not exactly a stable investment." "It's not an investment, Logan," she snapped. "It's called supporting your future family." I closed my eyes, bracing. "It's risky. I'm not comfortable putting my name on that." She stood abruptly, knocking over the wine. "You're unbelievable. You don't trust my brother, and you sure as hell don't trust me." "That's not true." She pointed at me like I was on trial. "You're a coward. You act like this calm, responsible guy, but the second someone asks you for real loyalty, you run." "I'm trying to protect our future," I said evenly. "Well, I don't want that kind of future," she screamed. "The wedding is off!" She hurled her engagement ring into the living room like it was a baseball. It shattered a picture frame, ironically, the one of us smiling in Paris. I stared at the wreckage, and for the first time in over a year, I felt nothing. Not panic, not guilt. Just clarity. Vanessa had threatened to leave dozens of times. Over shoes, over centerpieces, over things that didn't matter. She'd wielded "I'll cancel the wedding" like a loaded gun, expecting me to always flinch. And I had, until that moment. I picked up the ring. Not to return it. To keep it. As a receipt. While she was in the shower, probably rehearsing another meltdown, I did the unthinkable. I opened my laptop and called my lawyer. "Logan? What's going on?" He asked. "She ended it," I said, voice steady. "So I need to take care of a few things. We canceled the venue, the florist, the caterer, froze our joint savings, killed the prenup discussions, and most importantly, removed her name from the condo we hadn't closed on yet. By the time Vanessa came out in her bathrobe demanding takeout, it was already done. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I just watched her stomp off to the bedroom, still fuming. She thought I'd beg like always. She didn't know she'd finally pulled the pin on the grenade, and the blast was coming. Vanessa didn't speak to me for 3 days, which honestly felt like a spa retreat. She stomped around our apartment like a soap opera villain, slamming drawers, muttering insults under her breath, and giving me death glares between yoga poses. But the silence, the absence of screaming, it was peaceful, like the eye of a hurricane, and I knew better than to think it would last. Day 4, 7:12 a.m. I was halfway through my protein shake when I heard the crash. She'd thrown my laptop off the balcony. I stood frozen, watching it explode in the parking lot like a crime scene from CSI. Battery guts everywhere. A neighbor's chihuahua barked at the wreckage like it had witnessed a murder. "You canceled the wedding," she shouted from across the room. "You told the florist, the hotel, the band." "I did," I replied, setting my glass down. "You canceled the relationship. I'm just cleaning up the mess." "You bastard," she hissed. "You didn't even wait for me to cool off." "Vanessa," I said calmly, "you've screamed 'I'm done with you' more times than my alarm clock. Maybe this time I believed you." She went quiet. Dangerous quiet. Then she picked up the engagement ring. Yes, the same one she launched at the wall days ago, and stormed out. 3 hours later, I got a Venmo request for $200 memo line. Emotional damages. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just a breakup. It was a war. By the end of that week, I'd heard from her dad, her mom, her cousin Caleb, her hairstylist, and, somehow, her ex. Everyone had just a quick message about how hurt Vanessa was and how cold I'd been. As if I hadn't spent the past year patching holes in a sinking ship. But the real gut punch? My boss pulled me into his office. "Hey, Logan, got an odd email," he said, frowning. "From someone named Vanessa? Said you're emotionally unstable, that you might be manipulating clients?" I blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" "She CC'd half the accounting board," he said. "But I know you. I'm deleting it, just thought you should know." I sat in my office for 2 hours after that, staring at my monitor. She was trying to torch my reputation. Just like that. No more hesitation. No more benefit of the doubt. I hired a second lawyer. This one specialized in harassment and defamation. We gathered screenshots, call logs, email chains, everything. My attorney had this look on his face like a surgeon discovering a tumor that had already spread. "We need to act fast," he said, "before she does any real damage." The restraining order was filed the next morning. But Vanessa? She escalated faster than a squirrel on Red Bull. First came the social media posts. Cryptic at first, then specific. "Some men wear suits by day and masks by night," she wrote. Then came the TikTok. She filmed herself crying, holding up our engagement photo, and playing sad indie music in the background. The caption? "When he cancels your wedding and takes your condo, because you asked him to help your brother chase his dream." It got 30,000 views in 2 days. Suddenly, I had strangers DMing me on Instagram calling me a financial abuser and classist trash. I couldn't believe it. She was rewriting history in real time. But the kicker? A delivery driver showed up with $600 worth of pizza, billed to me, for the wedding guests who never got fed. That same day, she called my mother. "I think Logan's having a breakdown," she told her, voice trembling. "He's talking to lawyers. He's canceling everything. I'm honestly scared," my mom cried, for the first time in years. But the moment that shattered me came the next morning. A letter on my doorstep. Certified mail. It was from Vanessa's attorney. She was suing me, claiming emotional distress, demanding compensation for reputational damage, relocation costs, therapy, and inconvenience. The amount? $75,000. That's when the world slowed down. My hands didn't shake. My breath didn't catch. I just smiled, because now it was official. Vanessa had launched her final missile, and she had no idea I was already 2 moves ahead. I didn't blink when I got the lawsuit. I didn't cry, rage, or break things. I went for a run. 3 miles into Houston's humid morning air, I was already drafting my next move. That's the thing about dating a manipulator for too long. You either break, or you learn how to strategize like a villain in a boardroom. Vanessa had just made a legal mistake. Her lawsuit was sloppy. Her damages were exaggerated and worse. Some of her claims were provably false. She claimed I kicked her out of our shared condo, but the condo was never legally hers. My lawyer nearly choked laughing when he read it. "She's trying to bluff," he said. "A legal tantrum, but this gives us leverage." We filed a counterclaim the same day. Defamation, malicious interference, and harassment. My lawyer's tone changed from cautious to confident. She opened the door. "Now, we go in." But Vanessa wasn't done. The next evening, I arrived home and found my front door cracked open. I froze. Nothing was stolen, but something was definitely off. My tie clips were missing. A cufflink set my late father gave me. Gone. The weirdest part? A photo of Vanessa and me, one I'd already taken down and stuffed in a drawer, had been placed back on my nightstand, like a signature. The security footage showed a blur. Someone with a key. Vanessa still had hers. When the police came, they were polite but dismissive. Ex-fiancé drama, the officer shrugged. Change your locks. So I did. Then I changed buildings. I moved into a high-rise in Midtown the next day. No forwarding address. Vanessa didn't know where I lived. Only two people did. My lawyer and my best friend, Mike. Mike was the kind of friend who didn't ask questions. He just showed up with whiskey and barbecue ribs. She's spinning out, he said between bites. Don't let her drag you with her. He was right. But the next curveball came from someone I hadn't heard from in over a year. Hey, Logan, the message read. You don't know me, but I think we need to talk. It's about Vanessa. She did the same thing to me. Attached was a photo. Vanessa, looking younger, holding hands with a different guy. Smiling, glowing, deadly familiar. His name was Tyler. She'd been engaged to him 2 years before we met. Over the next 30 minutes, Tyler gave me a timeline that made my blood run cold. She moved in fast, he said. Talked about marriage in 6 months. Controlled everything, money, friends, even my wardrobe. She blew up any time I didn't agree with her. He told me she once faked an illness to stop him from going on a work trip. And when he finally broke things off? She filed a police report, he said. Said I was stalking her. I nearly lost my job. I listened in silence. Then he dropped the hammer. She has a burner phone, he said. She uses it to send her self-threatening messages. Then she uses those messages as evidence when she needs sympathy. My stomach turned. She'd shown me similar messages once. Late at night, crying, trembling, saying she didn't feel safe and needed me to hold her. I remembered hugging her, whispering that I'd protect her. I felt like a fool. She's done this before, I muttered. She's perfected it, Tyler replied. We hung up. I sat there in my new, sterile apartment, staring out over the city, wondering how much of my past year had been a performance. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was my lawyer. Logan, he said, you're going to want to sit down. Vanessa had just submitted a new piece of evidence in her case, a blurry screenshot of a supposed text message. From me. It was aggressive, threatening, completely fabricated. She's claiming you've been stalking her, my lawyer said, voice flat. I laughed. It came out cracked and sharp. She's pulling a Tyler. She's desperate, he said. But now she's made a fatal mistake. That screenshot? It's metadata stamped. We can prove it was created on her phone. It was the break we needed. Now it wasn't just a he said, she said. We had digital evidence, verifiable, time-stamped, unaltered. And once we subpoenaed her, cell records, it would be game over. But Vanessa wasn't going to go down quietly. 2 nights later, I got a call from Mike. He sounded shaken. Dude, I think she followed me home. What? I saw her car in my rear view. She parked down the block and waited. I'm not crazy, man. I saw her face. She was watching the building. My jaw clenched. She doesn't know where I live. No, he said, but she knows where I do. And suddenly I realized this wasn't just about me anymore. The next morning, my building's doorman flagged me down. Mr. Reed, he said, lowering his voice, you have a situation. He handed me a folded envelope, no return address. Inside was a printed photo of me and Mike leaving a bar 2 nights ago. The timestamp was 11:43 p.m. My stomach dropped. On the back, someone had scrawled in thick black Sharpie. You're being watched. I looked up at the doorman. Did anyone drop this off? He hesitated. Blonde woman. Big sunglasses. Hoodie. Said she was your cousin. I walked away without answering, ears ringing. Back in my apartment, I scanned every corner like it might explode. This wasn't drama anymore. It was obsession. I called my lawyer, who patched in a private investigator. The guy was ex-FBI, talked in clipped phrases, and had the facial expression of drywall. First, he said, change your phone number. Second, install cameras, real and dummy. Third, stop responding to everything she sends. She wants a reaction, but Vanessa wasn't waiting for me to play defense. That afternoon, my HR manager at work called me in, visibly uncomfortable. I have to ask you something serious, she said, fingers nervously interlaced. We received a file, an anonymous submission. Inside the manila folder was a fake email chain, supposedly between me and a client, talking about cooking the books. It was amateur-level photoshopping, but alarming nonetheless. "She's trying to sabotage your job," my boss muttered when he saw it. "This is next-level vindictive. The firm's legal team launched an internal audit. Thankfully, every real email, every paper trail cleared me. But the damage? It was emotional whiplash. I went home that night and sat in the dark. I didn't even take my shoes off. The old version of me, the people-pleaser, the rational compromiser, he would have been destroyed by now. But the man she underestimated? That man was preparing the final move. The next day, the private investigator called. "I've been following Vanessa for 48 hours, he said. "You're not going to like what I found." He sent over photos. Vanessa outside a courthouse. Vanessa meeting with her attorney. Vanessa kissing a man outside an upscale hotel. I zoomed in. He looked vaguely familiar. "That's my ex-client," I said aloud, heart slamming against my ribs. He was a hedge fund manager I'd audited 2 years ago, someone I'd flagged for shady dealings. I'd met with him twice, then cut ties. His company eventually folded. Now he was dating my ex-fiancée? No, it was worse than that. She was aligning herself with the one person who had motivation to ruin me. My lawyer's voice turned sharp when I explained. "That's a conflict of interest and a potential conspiracy. If they're working together to damage your career, we escalate. We subpoenaed phone records. We pulled GPS data. We requested Vanessa's attorney recuse herself due to conflict. And we prepared for a court showdown. But Vanessa had one more card to play. 2 days before the court hearing, I was walking out of a coffee shop when a woman screamed my name from across the parking lot. Logan! I turned just in time to see her sprinting at me. Makeup smudged, hair tangled, a camera crew behind her. Yes, a crew. 2 guys with phones, one holding a mic. "Tell everyone the truth," she shouted. "Tell them you emotionally abused me. You ruined my life." Someone in the parking lot gasped. Others pulled out their phones. She lunged at me. Security pulled her off in under 30 seconds. Cops arrived in 2 minutes. I gave a statement, showed my restraining order. Vanessa was arrested on the spot for violating it, but the real blow? She didn't stop screaming. "You think this is over?" she shrieked as they cuffed her. "I made you, and if I go down, I'll take you with me." The videos hit TikTok that night. Again. But this time, the comments turned against her. "Wait, wasn't she arrested?" "She's the unstable one. She's harassing this guy. What the hell?" My PI found out later she had paid those guys $400 each to film her confronting her abuser. The court date was now locked. The judge? No nonsense, former federal prosecutor. My lawyer smiled for the first time in weeks. She doesn't realize what she's walked into. Neither did I. The courtroom was ice cold and too quiet. I wore my best Navy suit, the one I'd saved for board meetings and funerals. Vanessa strolled in like she was starring in a courtroom drama. Tight black dress, dramatic sunglasses, flanked by her lawyer, who looked like she charged by the eye roll. She didn't even glance at me. Fine by me. The judge was sharp, clean-cut, and no nonsense. A former federal prosecutor turned circuit judge with a reputation for slicing through drama like a butcher through brisket. First, Vanessa's team launched their performance. Her lawyer painted me as emotionally abusive, manipulative, controlling, a calculating financial predator. Her exact words. I almost laughed. Vanessa dabbed her eyes with a silk handkerchief. I'm 90% sure she practiced crying in the mirror. They submitted screenshots of threatening texts, printouts of her TikTok videos, and a 3-page diary entry about how I'd crushed her spirit. My lawyer objected so often, the court reporter probably saved a macro for it. Then it was our turn. And we didn't bring a rebuttal. We brought fire. First, we presented the metadata proving her text screenshots were created on her phone. Not received, created. You could feel the air shift. Then came the burner phone. We had call logs linking the number to Vanessa's known locations, times and dates lined up with the threats she claimed to receive. Your Honor, my lawyer said, voice steady, we believe Ms. Rhodes fabricated digital threats to build a false narrative of abuse. Vanessa's lawyer objected. The judge allowed it. Then we hit her with a nuclear warhead. Your Honor, my lawyer said, we request to admit evidence of prior patterns, statements from a former fiancé, Mr. Tyler Grange. A brief silence. The judge reviewed the motion, then nodded. Proceed. Vanessa paled. Tyler took the stand. Calm, polished, devastating. He told the court how she'd staged emotional breakdowns, manipulated his finances, even filed a false police report when he refused to buy her a second car. His story mirrored mine almost beat for beat. Vanessa finally broke. She stood up, shouted, "He's lying! They're all lying!" The judge warned her. She sat, fuming. Then we brought out the receipts, photos of her and my former audit client, Jason Morrow, together at the Grand Bristol Hotel, credit card statements linking Vanessa to Jason's personal expenses, texts between them complaining about bringing Logan to his knees. Suddenly, her abuse narrative collapsed like a Jenga tower in an earthquake. Vanessa looked gutted. Her lawyer looked like she wanted to disappear into her overpriced heels. The judge recessed for deliberation. 15 minutes later, we reconvened. "I have reviewed the evidence," the judge said, tone clipped. "Ms. Rhodes's claims lack merit and are contradicted by multiple factual inconsistencies. The court finds in favor of the defendant." I exhaled. I hadn't realized I'd been holding my breath. Then came the bonus round. "In addition," the judge continued, "given the extent of falsified evidence and clear intent to damage Mr. Reed's reputation, the court grants the defendant's counterclaim for defamation and malicious interference." Vanessa's mouth fell open. "I further order restitution in the amount of $125,000. She gasped. So did half the courtroom. That's when it hit me. She had spent the last 6 months trying to destroy me, my career, my name, my sanity. And now she had to pay me 6 figures for it. As we exited, reporters swarmed the hallway. Vanessa shoved past them, barking, "No comment!" I walked out calmly, my lawyer beside me, feeling like I'd just stepped off a battlefield. But the war wasn't entirely over. Later that night, I got a call from an unknown number, a woman's voice. Familiar, soft, Logan. "It's Mia, Vanessa's cousin." I sighed. "What now?" "She's spiraling. Bad. Jason bailed. She's been cut off by her parents. She's talking crazy." I rubbed my temple. "Mia, I'm not getting involved again." "I'm not asking you to," she said quickly. "I just thought you'd want to know. She's saying you ruined her life, and that you owe her." I laughed bitterly. She ruined herself. But Mia's voice dropped to a whisper. She said she still has one last card to play. I didn't sleep that night, not from fear, from calculation. Vanessa wasn't bluffing, she never had been. She just wielded chaos like a flamethrower. And Mia's warning echoed like a siren in the back of my mind. She still has one last card to play. By morning, I'd hired 24-hour security outside my building and forwarded all calls to my lawyer. I even installed an alert on my name in case another viral video popped up. It only took 12 hours. Vanessa posted a video at 9:31 a.m. Her makeup was smeared. Her voice trembled. But her eyes? Calculated. She stood outside a police station holding a folder. "I'm reporting Logan Reed," she said to the camera, "for sexual coercion, emotional manipulation, and professional sabotage. He's dangerous. He's a predator, and I won't be silenced." I felt my stomach seize. Not because I feared the lie, but because I knew how fast lies could spread. She'd gone nuclear. Within minutes, the video hit 100,000 views. Comments exploded. "Believe women." "Expose him." "Another man in a suit getting away with it." I was trending, for all the wrong reasons. My lawyer was already on it. "We'll file a cease and desist, push for a defamation injunction." "But Logan, you need to speak. Publicly." "I'm not giving her the attention she wants." "You're not. You're giving her the exposure she fears." So I did. At noon, I posted a 3-minute video. I sat at my desk, no fancy backdrop, no script, just truth. I've remained silent while my ex-fiancé weaponized lies to manipulate the narrative, I said calmly. Now, I'm done being quiet. I laid it all out. The forged texts, the metadata, the burner phone, the hotel surveillance, the court victory. I included screenshots, court documents, even a sworn affidavit from her former fiancé, Tyler. And then I dropped the bomb. We have reason to believe this latest accusation is not just false. It's part of a pattern spanning multiple states and years. I ended the video with a simple line. Truth doesn't scream. It stands still and waits to be seen. The response? Instant. My post went viral. Legal Twitter picked it up. A famous defense attorney reposted it with the comment, "This is why due process matters." Within an hour, Vanessa's video had a new label under it. Content under dispute. claim pending legal review. By sunset, 2 of her previous exes had publicly come forward. One was a former professor she dated in grad school. The other, a nurse from Chicago. Both had eerily similar stories: emotional manipulation, fabricated abuse, threats of legal action when they tried to leave. Her narrative collapsed like a house of wet tissues. The police confirmed no formal charges had been filed. The folder she held in the video? Empty. Mia messaged me that night. She's gone. Gone where? She packed a bag and left. Didn't tell anyone, just disappeared. And that was it. No more videos, no more messages, no more threats, just silence. It was the most beautiful sound I'd heard in years. 3 weeks later, I stood in my condo, my real home now, not a battlefield, and sipped bourbon with Mike. "You know," he said, holding up his glass, "you could have just dumped her after she ruined your laptop," I laughed. "Yeah, but then I wouldn't have gotten a $125,000 breakup bonus," he grinned. "You should write a book." But I didn't need a book. I needed peace. I needed to remember what it felt like to breathe without walking on eggshells. To wake up without dreading the storm. To love myself more than the idea of being loved by someone unstable. Vanessa taught me a brutal lesson. Some people don't want partners. They want hostages. She thought love was control, that screaming louder meant she won, that threats were a currency she'd never run out of. But eventually, the game ends, and when it does, the last move isn't made by the loudest voice. It's made by the quiet one who finally walks away. For good. And here it is, the finale of today's story. Did everything turn out as you imagined, or did it end unexpectedly? I'd love to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and let's dive into the discussion together. If this story kept you in suspense, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? This is your chance to join an incredible community where exciting new stories unfold every day. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date. Thanks for your attention, and see you on your new adventures.